Pair of Focuses are running down the racetrack now. Aeroflow Lane runs on through for 147 kilometres an hour.
And 137 for the Rocket Lane.
I wonder if these races were here last night. We had a Ford Focus Club.
Yeah, we did actually. Yeah,
last night, so maybe they've
caught the bug.
They've caught the bug. They've come back again for another night's action. Of course, they all put in quite a few number of passes last night.
Yep.
And you know, for those of you that did come to Sydney Dragway last night for the race for real, Mark and I had a ball. There's plenty of fast cars at Ford versus Holden. Hopefully, we do that one again.
Yeah, one of my favourites for sure. Wow, 203 kilometres an hour from the EO in the Rocket Lane.
Yep, and 166 in the Aeroflow Lane. I think that was the Focus.
Oh, was it? Sorry, mate.
No, in the Aeroflow, I think it was the Focus.
Oh, was it? Okay.
You were right.
Well, I dare say I think the guys with the car that's just done the pass down there previously would be in the pits now, going right over that car.
Oh, side by side, only a tenth of a second across the finish line. 177 again for the green Corolla in the Rocket Lane to pretty much identical, 177.47 for the KE55.
Yeah, that was a bit of roll drags at its best, wasn't it? From the start right through.
Oh, we've got a black Lancer coming out with Koval number plates. So Michael Koval is in the house. Now, he's usually driving his white car, but tonight he's got his black one. It's great to see him out here for the roll drags here at Sydney Dragway.
Well, the Aeroflow Lane are 146 kilometres an hour to a 135 for the Rocket Lane.
I think it was an Audi in the Aeroflow Lane there. All right, welcome to everybody on the YouTube channel, Sydney Dragway Official. Hope you enjoyed tonight's racing. We'll do our best to interact with you on the chats and keep you up to date. This little T-bucket showing that that's in the way. 164 through the finish line. Hello, Mr. Elliott.
Hey, Pat.
Richard, we're scheduled to finish around 10 o'clock this evening. Been told by Stewie that we're going to move into eliminations around about 9:30. And we've already had a number of runs by the majority of our competitors. Of course, there still is plenty of time to get on down to Sydney Dragway. We've got the Golf taking on the BA Falcon.
Well, BA just winding it up top end.
Yeah, runs on through. Strong at 161 through the finish line mark.
And 134 for the V-dub.
Yeah, I think you're right with Evo King. Will be checking that car out throughout the pits. It didn't drop any fluid or anything. So no, that's not the concern. It's
mate, I think you're dead right in what you say though. The first thing would be get those tyres off it.
Yep. Have
a good look around because they would be massively flat spotted.
They'd be pretty second hand now.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a bumpy ride if he needs to run them again.
Mm-hmm.
But I must say that when that car was going round, I expected to do what they usually always do. They just loop round and you know, like a track straight to the wall.
Yes.
It actually looped back the other way.
Yes.
And
yeah, normally the second arc is the different arc, and that's where you collect the wall. But you know, very, very lucky there.
So I wonder if that was a bit of driver skill that he's somehow or another got it back the other way.
I'm going to give him credit.
Yeah, yeah, I gave him credit straight from the start.
Of course, I don't know. I couldn't see. couldn't see. I looked straight over to the cams on the other monitor here, but only very small. Listen to that Datsun up on the RPM. No wheel spin this time. No shaking that booty. 196 kilometres an hour through the finish line. It's probably the straightest I've seen it go.
Yep. And 148 for the Aeroflow lane. That was a really good pass.
Yeah, the focus very consistent.
Yep.
Evo Lancer taking on the Focus in the Rocket lane.
Well, you can definitely hear that nitrous coming on, can't you?
Yep. Big step out of the finish line for the Evo.
198 kilometres an hour. And for the Focus, 134 kilometres per hour.
Of course, if you're watching on the live stream or you're up in the grandstand or you've got friends with a car or whatever, to come out here to race, pretty straightforward. You just need a long pants, a long sleeve top, approved helmet and covered shoes. And of course, $60 for the entry.
Yep.
Come on down and get a handful of runs here tonight.
And the car of your choice.
The one you bring. That is unless you run for pink slips, which I don't suggest, unless you're really confident, but that's up to you.
You may have a garage full of them.
Yeah, that's right.
If you are, you're a lucky person.
Well, you need your mate. Did you bug your mate from last night you were telling us about? He should have come down with the HQ.
Oh, the queue. No, he's down Marula. He's down there for the car show.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah, I would have liked to see that.
I don't know if the QE really fits the
parameters
for roll tracks. But
I think we would just see a real lot of smoke.
Yes, yeah. It's more of Supercharged Outlaws, I think.
It is
closer.
Yeah.
Well, boys, we've got Michael Koval coming back out in his Black Lancer, and in beside him we've got an Audi that is about to come out. Now, typically the Audis, as we've seen at Aeroflow Race for Real, they're pretty quick. But roll drags is a whole different kettle of fish for these things.
Yeah, I guess I would assume most of these cars you'd be leaving in second gear, because I think by the time you're doing 60 odd, you're already at the top of first, and the last thing you want to be doing is changing gears at the last second, unless you like double clutch it into second. Maybe, I'm not sure. I need to get more aggressive and actually try it.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you. Have you done roll drags all? No.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No. I thought about doing it across the road, but I think I'm a bit shy on horsepower.
Mate,
but it's all about having fun. It is
indeed
what it's all about.
Exactly right.
And you know what? You don't know unless you give it a go.
True.
So a couple of new cars coming through now. The Mazda MPS in the Rocket lane, taking on the Evo Lancer.
Go the Mazda.
Yep. Have a go. He's right there too. He's right beside it. Will it on, Stu. Will it?
Go, you good thing. And we got another Mazda coming out as well, the MX-5.
Oh, yeah. Big puff of smoke and big shoot of flames out of the Mazda.
I didn't see. I was watching the
the
monitor.
Yeah. And it went through at 140 kilometres an hour to 119.
Yeah, that Lancer, I think, out of the throttle.
Hey, Steve.
Yes, Stu?
Your car's just turned up, mate. I'm out the back here, and Precision Racing, one of their Lamborghinis has just turned up.
Oh, yeah.
Getting by.
Is that the one I ordered on Monday?
Yeah, that's the one, mate. Yeah. It's got your name written on it.
Has it?
Yep.
Is it on the rego papers more important?
Well, I don't know if it's on the rego papers. It's definitely got your name on it, though.
I honestly think getting in it wouldn't be that hard. You wouldn't get me out of it.
Yeah, I think that might work for most of us, mate.
I think so. I don't have gravity on my side on the way out. All right.
We'll see how your car goes.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Such an aggressive-looking car, aren't they? They look
Yeah,
like
they are.
they're doing 300 k's an hour sitting still. Up against the respectable house brick in the rocket lane in comparison. The Lambo moving around a little bit on the hit, but certainly going to get there first. 208 kilometres an hour through the finish line on the first pass.
And 154 kilometres an hour out of the XD Falcon.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of pedaling going on in both lanes there.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, the Lambo was actually moving around quite a bit, pushing us over towards the centre line.
Well, they've been an interesting car to drive, I dare say, the Lamborghini. I mean, obviously, they've been at Bathurst for a long, long time for the 12-hour, and they're not a light car. They're quite heavy for what they are. So once they start to get a little bit of a wiggle on, it'd be interesting to see, the driving characteristics of the car when you're actually in it.
Yeah. Back in the early days when I was panel beating, I worked in a shop. We'd done a lot of prestige stuff, and I had a drive of a couple of Lambos and a bit of early ones, the Mura, drive of a couple of early Ferraris and stuff. And
well, you'd think that technology has improved in some...
100%.
You'd want to hope so.
Yeah, because those early ones, mate, all you can hear is the oil pump running right behind your head and those Webbers just screaming away.
We're talking that early. Okay.
Yeah, early, yeah. The early 308 GTS,
yes,
Ferraris and stuff, but geez, they're just like a go-kart. Because once we repaired them, we had to test drive them.
Of course you did.
Make sure they had no rattles.
Yeah. Yep. That everything was done up correctly. And
Yeah.
They're going to make sure they're not built like an Alfa Romeo then.
Yeah.
Now. There might be some Alpha people in the crowd.
True. It's great to have getting by here tonight for the roll drags here at Sydney Dragway. Of course, the guys from Precision Racing, they know their stuff. And they've got a great flotilla of customer cars that do come out here now and again. We look forward to seeing more from those cars as we go along. There's a few more cars that we're going through scrutineering as well.
Coming up here at Sydney Dragway next weekend, excuse me, is the second round of the new drag racing championship, but we're going to see those nitro funny cars run down the racetrack here Friday, Saturday, and very much looking forward to that action, of course, as well as all the sportsman categories that will be here as supporting the and trying to gain points for the new championship. Most of them down in the Bend this weekend.
Yep.
So a busy couple of weekends for those competitors, but very much looking forward to seeing what the new format brings and the competitors that come along.
Yeah, I would like to come out, but I will be over in Perth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what are you doing over in the mid-country?
Mate, going a long way just for a birthday party.
Well, enjoy it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I'm sure you'll be trying some of the local brews over there.
I will, yes.
You have to fill me in and see if there's any good ones. No, Steve's 100% right. It will be an interesting event. And look, we've been following the Ambrosia Racing team, who are on their way down to South Australia at the moment. And they'll be backing up, being here next week as well.
Yeah, big commitment from all of our professional categories in that, yeah, the turnaround time, of course, only a few short days when you take out.
Yes.
There's a day minimum travel between events, or between venues, I should say. So you want to hope that you don't break anything too drastic. Next pair of cars on their way down, the little Mazda MX-5 taking on the Subaru.
And Rocket Lane, 110 kilometres per hour. For the Aeroflow at 104 kilometres an hour. I'll tell you what, the bend looks like a great setup down there.
Yes, there's been a lot of talk about that venue in the recent times, and a lot of people very keen to see that that new facility or new drag racing track open down there.
You know, we say we need a lot more racing. Now we're getting it.
Exactly.
Well, the XD goes through 110 kilometres per hour to 104 kilometres per hour for the Aeroflow lane.
One thing I've noticed from down here too, boys, obviously with the drag racing side of it, there's usually that tyre slip in the first 20 foot of the racetrack, down towards 30, and then they tend to hook up. Here at the roll drags, they get to about 60 foot, and the tyre starts to lose its grip a little bit, and then grip up a little bit further down the track. So, you know, when it comes to eliminations, these are things I reckon the drivers have really got to take a good look at, because that could be make or break to win a race.
Well, I think it doesn't matter if it's traditional drag racing or if it's roll drags. You need that tyre to hook up.
Yeah, you do.
Because once it's spinning, it's a little bit tricky sometimes to get it to actually hook up. Well, I think this next matchup might be a little bit unfair, Mark, but I don't know what's under the bonnet of the ute.
What against the Lambo?
Yeah.
Well, that ute looks like it's got a big intercooler sitting in the front of it, Steve.
I think there's a lot of fuel going through that ute.
Well, I did throw the disclaimer in right at the end and said that I don't know what's under the bonnet. Come on, fair. Fair. He might have a twin turbo LS in it making 4,000 horsepower. I don't know that.
You can't back out of it now, mate. It's too late.
There's nothing to back out of.
Well, the funny thing is, Steve, it may not even be an 8. It could be a 6.
Yeah, exactly right. I've seen that done a few times now. Might even have one of those Barra motors in it.
Could have one of the late model diesel motors in it.
Yes, right. That's right.
It was a bit smoky.
Okay, guys, next up, we've got Area 51 Custom Performance. We've got the Caprice coming out, because those guys were racing last night at Aeroflow Race for Real with a couple of fans over in the stands there. They're keen.
Yeah, that's good.
Taking on the little Civic. Oh, purge of the nitrous there from the Caprice.
And opens the account 169 kilometres an hour through the speed trap.
And 103 for the Rocket Lane.
All right, boys, we're going to get pretty serious now.
Going to say that sounds like a Skyline.
It
I
is,
don't even
mate.
have to see it. I can hear it.
We've got Strapped about to come out for its first pass. This R34 GTR.
Whoa.
Well,
Again.
I'll tell you what, the B2R Motorsports car strapped, that was wild, Steve.
It was. It looked like he was pointing at the start line when he let it go, unfortunately, and that's exactly the direction that it went. But yeah, dancing with that centre line again.
Yep, bit of wrestling with that car all the way down the track.
Yeah, very distinct engine note, the RB power plant, as is the 2J, as is the Barra now. We've heard all of those engines many a time before.
So that's first pass for that car.
Yes.
Wonder if they roll around again, it'd have a little bit more heat in it.
Yep.
Heat in the tyres. Interesting to see how it goes from there.
All right, well, the MPS got the jump on the MX-5, 141 there for the MPS to 114 for the MX-5.
Yeah, the Mazda 3 wasn't even hanging around, was he?
No,
There's
not
a
at
fair
all.
gap between those two cars across the start line.
It is fantastic to have Precision Racing and B2R here at Sydney Dragway for the roll drags. That car strapped all the way down from Queensland. Well, not only do we have strapped here, boys, we've also got RHM, which is here tonight as well. The second of these R34 GTRs. And both these cars, well, they're 8-second cars over the quarter mile. But roll drags, different kettle of fish. And you know, I think they would have learned a lot data-wise. They know where they can improve in that first part of the racetrack. But when you're pushing out that much power, you know, to harness it in that first 6330 foot of the racetrack, it's not as easy as it looks. So I'm kind of thinking tonight, boys, because the eliminations, you know, will kick off around 9:30. I'm wondering if we're going to see an R34 GTR up against a Lambo.
Are you trying to pick it winner already?
Mate, I am. It's a bit like a horse race, you know. You've got about 3 or 4 favourites, and you've got to decide between one. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be awesome later on tonight. But look, once again, we must thank everybody that has come out so far for the roll drags. The racing has been sensational. Look forward to seeing more. And it's great to see a lot more workshops starting to get behind it as well and support the event. I mean, we know Steve in particular with B2R as well as Motorsport Mechanical, what they've done in the Pro Street GTR scene in drag racing here.
Well, I think the beauty of getting the workshops involved, Stu, is that they encourage their customers to bring the cars out. Of course, the people, the racers out the back, and those that are here or those that aren't here tonight, they all spend a considerable amount of time and money in developing their car, and sometimes they just need, they might a little bit gun shy, happy to see figures on a dyno, but they might not be happy to come out and give it a race. And if you can get the tuners involved and the workshops involved, if they're coming to the racetrack, the customer might say, well, okay, if I do have a problem, Stu, you're my tuner, you're there to help me. You know what I mean? Whereas if you go out on your own, if you're not a little bit like me, I'm not particularly knowledgeable in how to change tune-ups and that sort of thing, just because I have never done it, right?
Yes. Yep.
So when it comes time to actually racing, you might turn around and go, oh, no, I'll give it a miss. But if your workshop can get involved and they're tuning, they come out to help a whole heap of cars, then everybody wins, because chances are the driver will come back and go, on Thursday night at Sydney Dragway, you know, you saw I only ran 180 k's an hour. I want to break 200. What do I need to do that?
Yep.
You know, so the owner then spends a little bit more money on dyno tuning and whatever else needs to be done, and everybody wins.
Yeah, 100%. And also, it's if you've got guys too that, like, from a workshop, you sort of talk when you go in and look at your motors and stuff like that, and you find more friends out there.
Yes.
You start turning up in groups.
Yes.
So that gives you, it's a little bit of courage as well in it to come on out. So especially someone's got a bit more experience than you, give you the right idea.
Exactly right. It's all about connecting with networking, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it is. So, if any of your mates are sitting at home, jump on the phone. Get them on out here.
Get them on out here, even if they just come out to watch. But we love to see them behind the wheel.
Yep. Yeah. We definitely want to make this thing work.
Pretty close race there between those two competitors. Only a few kilometres an hour through the speed trap. Because if you're feeling a little bit peckish, there's Go Nuts for Donuts is up there. We've got Troy up there, Ben. No, Troy's not there. We've got the Pit Stop Cafe down in the scrutineering shed, of course. And Joe's Ice Cream is up there as well.
Yeah, we've also got Gosling May up there as well.
Ah, there we go. Thank you, Stu. Teamwork for the dream work, my friend.
100% right, mate. That's why we make a good team.
As the sun all but sets here at Sydney Dragway.
Hey.
Start to see the headlights and tail lights come into effect. Of course, we've got people from all around the world streaming in, logging into our stream. So welcome to each and every one of you. Hope you enjoy roll drags here from Sydney Dragway.
Hey, Mark, I guess for you, being at Race for Real, I mean, you've seen a lot of drag racing, you know, from standing start, we're on the radial tyre, but you look at some of these cars tonight that are on the radial compared to a street tyre in a roll drag situation. How much difference do you see from doing something like this compared to doing something like across the road where there's no prep?
Yeah, it's actually hard to say, Stu. This is the first time I've ever been to roll racing, roll drags. So I'm pressed as anything.
I think that the difference is with the no prep. There's obviously the little bit more of unpredictability, especially when you see these high horsepower cars.
Yep.
Even when they're rolling to a start, they're not launching from a standing still. Whenever they're let loose, I guess you could say, full burst, 100% throttle, we sometimes do see the cars move around a lot. Look, we've already seen a couple of cars here do it a little bit, but when there's no prep at all, there is that little bit extra unpredictability in these cars, and sometimes they are mechanical devices, and things do occasionally not stay where they're supposed to, and sometimes things are let out of the engines that isn't supposed to come out, and that obviously makes things very interesting for the competitor very quickly. But
but I think also there's another factor in it as well. The guys they're not doing burnouts.
Yes,
so
100%. Yes,
you're not putting any heat within the tyres. You're only relying on that launch to get a little bit of heat in there.
Yep.
And so with this track, there is a bit of prep on it. When you got a no prep track and cold tyres, there's a lot of skill involved to point and shoot and keep it going straight.
We almost want to, not suggesting this, but have a burnout pad somewhere where at the back that we could warm the tyres up just a fraction, or come out with like tyre warmers and that sort of thing, big heat guns and all that sort of stuff. But certainly after you do a few runs and you do get a little bit of wheel spin as you accelerate, that is putting heat into the tyre, of course. And of course you got the radiant heat from the power plant, the engine and that sort of thing as well.
Yes.
But
and that's what I was saying about the Skyline. It went down it was first pass. It'd be interesting to see how it gets a couple more passes under its belt, if it does aid.
Well, one in the rocket lane doing very well at the top end there. 192 kilometres an hour. Didn't seem to spin the wheel at all.
No. A really good pass on that car. And as you say, nice and straight down the track. We do have the other Skyline just
saw it in
the other side of the tunnel.
Saw it in the background of the camera shot. It's up on the big screen there.
So we've got the XD and the little Dado.
Little Dado's put down some good passes already. Side by side on the hit. The little Dado out in front at the moment. But one of the Falcon, yes, the Falcon just getting on by 0.04 of a second across the finish line. I was going to say they were side by side.
Was indeed. The Falcon done a little bit of a pedal too. So.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, get your phones ready because it is time for some heavy hitters. Strapped has already been out. This is the first pass for RHM.
Again, the blue Skyline dancing with the centre line. I don't know whether the RHM car decided, well, he's very close to the centre line. I'm just going to let him do what he wants to do.
Yeah. I think that might have been it a bit. He was getting a bit close to it.
But again, the car just wanting to come around to the right-hand side.
Or another little Dado coming out up against the Evo.
I would so happily give that thing garage space.
Yeah, wouldn't you?
Always like the little 1200.
Yep.
I like the coupes, but the sedan, there's nothing wrong with the sedan either. And again, 193 kilometres an hour. Not his fastest pass by 3 k's an hour, but certainly not hanging around. That's not what Datsun would have developed that car for, because the little 1200.
Yeah, I think when they were designing it, they never had those specs.
Yeah, they probably weren't even thinking 100 k's an hour, let alone double that.
I love watching the body language out of that Dado as soon as he gets to the start line and hits it, just the way it sits back on the suspension on those rear tyres and just straight. It looks really good from down here.
Pair of hot hatches now, the Subaru E in the airflow lane. I'm guessing the Focus will be 145.
Close. 148 and 132 for the Subaru. Well, Mazda and the Audi, but Audi well and truly out in front. 149 kilometres now to 111 for the Mazda.
Yeah, Mazda's pretty consistent too, but I dare say the Audi would have quite a bunch more horsepower under the bonnet. Second, I was going to say, Stu, there's no rotaries here yet.
No.
You're using your telepathic powers down there to call all the Mazdas rotaries?
I am calling out the rotaries.
Because we had 3 pretty quick ones here last night.
Well, we did. But having said that, this style of racing, it does seem to favour the Evos and the Skylines. I guess that's the weapon of choice for majority of people that are taking it super seriously, this style of racing anyway. But no, it'd be good to have some rotors out.
We got the Corolla down in the Rocket lane and the Falcon in the Aeroflow lane, just waiting to roll on out.
Okay, so the Falcon takes the lead, the Corolla just hanging back. I guess there is a little bit of the Corolla way out in front here. Runs on through for 174 kilometres an hour to 162 for the Falcon.
Yep.
Yeah, the Falcon was fighting for a little bit of grip there. Got out to about 60, 70 foot, and then, yeah, just big screech of the tyres. And the Dado had a little bit of a screech out of as well, so, but still good pass from both cars, well over 160k.
I was going to say there's probably a little bit of a strategy with the start as the chasing car, if you like. Of course, you need to try and stick as close as possible to the lead car, but if you hang back a little bit, you can slingshot.
Yeah.
You lose out at the first sector of the racetrack, if you like, but you potentially come on stronger up the top end with a little bit more speed. This should be a good battle. I think the little blue 1200 is going to take it, though. The Corolla out early, but a little bit of wheel spin again. And our little Dado won at 97 kilometres an hour, his fastest pass of the night so far.
And 176 from the Corolla. What you say there, you're right, because that Dado is on it way back here.
Yes.
So he's getting on a lot earlier.
Yep, so he lets the other car move forward, and then slingshots past him with a little bit, obviously making a little bit more horsepower than the Corolla in that instance. But yeah, certainly there's a little bit of strategy, I think, that goes into getting to the other end first, because ultimately that's what we're doing. It's not just a speed trap at the other end. When you're into eliminations, it's the first car across the finish line.
Yep.
All right, boys, RHM coming out for its second pass.
All right, let's see if we can see the true potential of RHM in the Rocket lane. Again, wiggling around at half track. And 231 kilometres an hour through the speed trap in the Rocket lane for the RHM Skyline.
Wow, he was all over that thing then.
He was.
He done really well.
Doing a bit of wheel work.
Yeah, indeed. And 161 for the Mitsubishi. So a good pass for that car.
It sounded like the Skyline was still playing with the going between rolling and driving up to the start line. Wasn't a smooth transition from the staging area through to the Christmas tree.
Sounded like he just kept it in low.
Yeah.
Right, just keeping the revs right up to it, keep it loaded up, and then just banged it through.
151 in the airflow lane there.
And 139 for the Rocket lane.
first of our Golfs about to come through, if I saw that correctly in the back of that shot up on the big screen.
Yeah, it's very interesting seeing the different styles of guys with their cars. They've probably, you know, like done a fair bit of roll drags. So,
yeah, I think obviously there's the experienced racer that has a go at everything, and of course here at Sydney Dragway, it's all about getting everybody out here.
Yes,
you know, we're trying not to have it so that you feel that you need to have 4 million horsepower. It's all about coming out here and having a bit of fun and in a different racing. That's what I'm looking for, Mark. Environment to the traditional Wednesday night that we have here.
Yep.
So if you're a little bit scared of breaking your drive line, if you feel that the launch off a standing start is something that concerns you, of course, roll drags I think is, and that's why it certainly seems so popular, is that it takes that initial jolting load away from all of your driveline components.
Yep.
But it does create a little bit of a different approach in how you then manage that horsepower effectively to get it down to the ground and then through the finish line.
Yeah.
I think the Skyline that I can see in our shot there in the rocket lane might well be the one that has the quickest time or quickest speed that we've seen here at Sydney Dragway so far, set at roll drags number 1 here.
Okay.
That one there, 176. Seemed pretty straightforward.
Well, I'll tell you what, Steve, we've got a very quick Skyline sitting out the back that is not too far away from coming out. It's also out of the B2R workshop. It's got the number plates Boogeyman. It's got radials on all 4 corners. It's got a real Pro Street GTR look about it that we're used to seeing here at Sydney Dragway. And it means business.
R33 just coming into the staging area, of course, under the front of the tower here. Falcon Ute takes the lead, the Skyline will follow. Little bit of a pedal there for the Skyline, I think, but looking for 192 plus, all very consistent, 191 on that pass.
And 136 for the Falcon.
Yeah, Falcon also very consistent.
Yep. Got the Corolla up against the Commodore. Commodore Ute, you can just see an intercooler poking out.
Just the bottom of it, hinting, just disclosing itself under the number plate. Little Corolla hitting the limiter right on the Christmas tree.
169 for the Corolla and 142 kilometres for the Commodore Ute. Got the Corolla back out again, and the Statesman just purging up that nitrous.
I reckon he would have had a refill after last night.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The Corolla showing him the way. I don't think the Statesman's going to chase him down.
Not a real lot in it.
No, there wasn't. The little bit of difference in the time there, but the speed's only 4 kilometres an hour or thereabouts.
Yep. 178 for the Rocket Lane, 174 for the Aeroflow lane.
Tell you what, Steve, we've got Boogeyman that's about to come out, but out the back here, we've got a very wild-looking Honda Civic that has also got radials at all 4 corners.
Hey?
From B2R Motorsport as well.
Is that the blue one?
It is, Steve.
Oh, that's a quick car. That was across the road a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
But did you pick up that he said there's radials on all 4 corners?
Yeah, I did indeed. Yep. They're not supposed to be.
No, no, and that's probably why it's so quick. I think they run a CRV type driveline in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ah. It's great to see some of the conversions they're putting under these cars.
Oh, in the little hatches, there's all sorts of stuff. There's,
Yeah.
You know, you watch YouTube channels from overseas. There's guys running twin-engine Hayabusas in them and
Yes.
stuff like that. Just
Yep.
completely oddball combinations. All right, the Boogeyman about to unleash next to the BA Falcon. Again, we can pick up that very distinct RB26.
They're great sound to them, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just a rumble.
Yep. Of course, having an open pipe certainly helps. Here we go. Let's see what he can do. A bit loose at the top of the gear. 217.65 kilometers an hour through the finish line.
And 161 for the Aeroflow lane. I just love how it's just black tracked
Yes,
through the start line.
it has. I think there's a fair bit left in that car.
Oh, yeah.
Just quietly. All right, a little 1200 coupe taking the lead this time, looking for 198 kilometers an hour. Can he do it? Standing up on those big tyres. Pretty straight this time around, 194.5.
And 135 for the rocker lane.
Yeah, both cars are running around about 2 or 3 kilometres an hour slower than their previous best,
Yep.
but that's okay. What's the weather like out there at the moment, Stu? I can see you've put your jacket on.
Yeah, it's cooled down considerably out here at the moment.
A little bit of wind out there at the moment. You see by the flags.
Yeah, it's more the wind chill than anything with that breeze. I got the BMW up against the Rexy.
BMW stretching the legs. 168 through the finish line.
And 134. Okay, Audi and VW Golf back out again.
Pretty even so far. I think the Audi just out in front, Mark. Nope.
Just pegged him on the line.
It did, yep. 200s across the finish line.
Yep. 151 kilometres an hour for the VW. Falcon Ute up against the Lancer.
And,
156 for the Aeroflow lane.
And Lancer on the brakes a little bit early there.
All right, the Volkswagen Golf up against the Focus.
Should be a fairly even matchup, this one, I dare say.
It should be a good
I
race
reckon the
between both.
Focus will be about 148 kilometres an hour. The Golf somewhere around 140. Oh, no.
Well, you weren't too far off.
It's the best run of the night for the Focus.
154 kilometres per hour.
And I think the Golf also very small improvement there as well.
Yep. We've got the Corolla up against the Skyline.
Yes. I think the Skyline should take this one looking at the previous passes. Although there's not a lot of difference, only a few kilometres an hour. Should be anybody's race. It's a beauty of traction and all-wheel drive happening right in the aeroflow lane there. 174 kilometres an hour, but the Corolla got there. I would have swore the Skyline was in front.
Yeah, exactly the same as you, mate. And 5 kilometres an hour difference, absolutely nothing.
Two completely different combinations of car there.
Yep.
It's a 3.5 litre V6 versus the 2 litre SR20 4-cylinder. Rear-wheel drive versus all-wheel drive. Whoa! Big step out for the Corolla at about the 60-foot mark. Back into it now, though. 175 kilometres an hour through the speed trap.
136, yeah. It really unsettled that car, didn't it?
I think if you brake traction, it just moves around on the suspension, whereas if it hooks up, you don't have that tendency to have it want to move around on you.
It doesn't seem to have that squat either. It sort of sits really high at the back. It's old style setup in the suspension on it.
Wondering if it still runs a leaf spring.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, we got that Dado with the SR20. It's been running well all night, but he's taking on the B2R Civic.
Oh.
This thing looks wild.
Have a listen to it. The little Dado over towards the centre line, but issues for the Civic. 196 kilometres an hour this time around for the Datsun. It's very consistent.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'd love to see 200 plus out of that thing at some point. Just page up once or twice.
Yeah. just keep tapping. The Civic just launched out and he just nosed off.
Got stuck with him for a little bit there, but just slowly making his way down the braking area here at Sydney Dragway. Still on its own power, I think.
Yeah, maybe just something not right, so just done the right thing. And
There's a bit of rubber that came off it at around 60 foot. We think it might have just shredded just a little bit of tyre.
okay, yep.
Big pedal for the Falcon in the aeroflow lane. Got it motoring that time, though. 187 with an 8.
And 150 for the rocket lane.
Yeah, I think Pedalman Man on our live stream, Mark, he's a bit of a Falcon man. He was all keen about the pedal van last night that you quite liked, and of course just commented on the XD. Oh yeah,
yeah.
So, very, very nice car in person too, pedal van man. All right, the BMW hatch taking on the Holden Ute. I was going to say, I thought the Ute would have got there, but not so this time, looking at the previous passes from the Ute.
Yeah, 167 for the Beamer.
Well, mind you, the Beamer picked up 30 k's an hour on its first pass. We're looking at the data from the previous one.
And 140 k's for the Commodore. Well, I can hear a big purge of nitrous.
I don't even have to look and see which car it is.
Yeah, it's the Area 51 Custom Performance Statesman. Just purging the nitrous, taking on the Falcon.
Nice clean pass for the Statesman. Hits 170 k's an hour through the speed trap.
And 136 for the Ute.
Yes,
not too bad for a big, heavy car.
For the Statesman, no,
Yeah.
it does pretty well for itself. I think the Falcon Ute there having a few issues. He dropped near 30 k's an hour off the previous best. So
Okay.
I think it just shows how important it is to get the roll speed correct. Because obviously, if you're hesitant or you're out of the throttle, then you obviously lose that momentum.
Yes. Yep.
And the Focus takes it there. 151 on the nose through the finish line.
And 127 for the Rocket Lane.
This should be a good race. The pair of Corollas doing better once again.
I think we have a shot at this, Steve. I think I would try like the Dado does and be on it back a bit earlier. Just hold back.
What I should have done, Mark, that's what I should have done, is volunteered to test.
You reckon?
That's what I should have. Well, when we were testing the system and everything, I
Yeah.
said, yeah, I'll do it. That's what I should have done. Anyway, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
This very nice looking Audi is about to come out in the Rocket Lane, in the Aeroflow lane. We've got the Volkswagen.
The Audi's been taking most of these, except for the last one. The V-Dub run him down on the line. Well, 147 to a 147.
There's only half a K difference there.
Yeah.
Right on half a K.
I don't think it'll be too long, boys, till we start seeing some of our 10-second Golfs make their way out here to City Dragway for the roll drags to give it a shot. I think a few of the cars out of the Parkatech stable might give it a shot. Well, what, sir? 190 k's an hour. Great pass from that car. All right, the B2R Civic is on its way back out, swapping lanes for this run. Going to have a crack in the Aeroflow lane. And it's been taking on that quick green Falcon. Well, that Civic just hit the power then. As soon as it came up on burst, it instantly started pointing towards the centre line. The driver just momentarily had to get off the accelerator, straighten it and go again. So plenty left in that car. I can see another one of our heavy hitters. It'll be coming up very soon, but right now we've got the BMW taking on the Evo.
Well, Rocket Lane takes a win, 167 to 164. Absolutely nothing there, Stu, between those.
No, that BMW is very unassuming. I mean, you see coming through the tunnel and you think, yeah, okay, it's not going to be super quick, but man, it gets up and boogies. Right now, we got RHM coming out now, up against the Boogeyman.
Well, that would have sounded sensational from where you were down there, Stewie.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, when both the Boogeyman got up on boost and then RHM, you knew it was on between two of them. And let's face it, R32 up against the 34. But that was a sensational race. And look, it is a credit. We say it time and time again, but boy, do we mean it. It is a credit to these workshops and also their customers for the amount of work and everything that goes in to building a car of that caliber and to bring it out here to Sydney Dragway and roll drags and put it on a show for everybody in the crowd and everybody that's watching live via our YouTube and Facebook.
Yep. And you know what? It's really good advertising for those garages to have their cars out there to show what they're doing. You know, like it's sensational.
Well, you know, we talk about an Aeroflow race for real fairly regularly, but here at the roll drags, you know, another perfect example of still roll racing, just a different style, and just showing the versatility of these vehicles.
Yep. Yeah, indeed. And it's good with Facebook and YouTube, so it gets a big wider market virtually. Well, Commodore chased that one down. 140 kilometres an hour to 134 for the Falcon. Well, the Audi goes through 147 kilometres an hour to 138. Well, the Lambo back out again up against the Corolla. The Lambo was putting in some big miles per hour. Well, 215 kilometres an hour for the Lamborghini and 180 for the Corolla. But I'll tell you what, that Lamborghini was rock solid, straight as a die down the track. Okay, both these cars are just getting waved on through. Two VW Golfs. Rocket Lane takes a win, 148 kilometres an hour to 145 for the Aeroflow lane. Skyline up against a BMW. Oh, great pass for the Skyline. 250 kilometres an hour. It's 165. I'll tell you what, Stu, that Skyline, a really nice pass there previous. Nice and straight.
Yeah, they've certainly stepped it up a little bit. I'd dare say, Mark, a lot of those first lot of passes, I think they're kind of gauging where the deficiency is. And I noticed straight away with that B2R Civic, as soon as they got it back into the staging area, straight away into the laptop to check the tune. So, hey, there's a lot of things that these teams are working on behind the scenes. And I can tell you a little bit later, if once they get this car sorted and they get their head around what this track's doing, because one thing we don't touch on too much either is, even though this is roll drags, not proper like your normal drag racing, the track is changing. It's getting more rubber down, but the rubber is in a different part of the racetrack compared to what you'd have in a normal drag strip. So effectively where I'm standing is where majority of the cars are launching from, compared to a little bit further out.
Wow, great pass then from the XD. 193 kilometres an hour and 186. That was a really good pass. Real close side-by-side racing.
Well, you certainly notice it now, Mark and Steve, that within that first 60 foot of the racetrack, compared to a little bit earlier, there's a lot more rubber down in that section of racetrack now from the Christmas tree to the 60.
Yep.
So the cars are starting to launch just that little bit harder out of the hole. Well, the Lambo from Precision Racing, 217 k's an hour.
And I'll tell you what, Stu, it was stuck to the track. It did not move around at all.
No, that was a sensational pass there from the Lambo.
And 120 free for the Aeroflow lane.
I mean, just while we've got no racing on track at this point in time, boys, just as we walk down towards that area of the racetrack, you can see the big build-up of rubber, particularly in the groove. And we did mention that earlier. Just how important the groove is in any form of drag racing, whether it be roll drags or drag racing. But there's a definitive groove now up to that 60-foot mark, or just past it. So you can see it quite well, particularly for the cars that have probably got more like a radial style tyre on them. You'll certainly notice the difference between them once they get past that 60-foot, maybe the 70, 80-foot out, where they're hitting it.
Yeah, well, you noticed that on some of the cars, Stuart. You know, like some of the, they were getting a little bit loose earlier in the pass. Now they seem to be sticking really well. So, yeah, you can see the track's picking up to what they're doing.
Well, a perfect example of that is that race that's with these cars just coming up the return road, the two Falcons. You know, both of them are running radials on the rear end, and there was a great pass from both of them. Here comes this BMW up against Crazy, the white Golf. I think the BMW might just have this. Yes, he does, 167. Great pass.
And 136 kilometres an hour for the Golf. With the Datsun coming back out, the blue Datto up against the Lancer. Well, 188 kilometres an hour to 156 for the Rocket Lane. One 144 kilometres an hour to 105 kilometres an hour.
So just keep your eye on these two Falcons. Both of them running radials on the rear end. Two distinctly different year models. But it'll just go to show you just how good this track is turning out to be.
Well, 186 kilometres an hour to 187 kilometres an hour. So Stu, the white XD, does it sound like it's got a barra in it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is running a barra. It has been out here for Aeroflow Race for Real before.
Yep.
And I've been told it's got a big turbo on it as well.
Well, that's definitely going to bring a barrow alive, that's for sure. How's it going out the back there, Stu?
It's pretty quiet out here at the moment, but you know, hopefully get some more cars turn up. And definitely give this roll drags a shot. I dare say, boys, it's probably made a little bit interesting for the cars that are probably used to being across the road with the no prep. And now starting to come out to this track where, as I mentioned, it is starting to grip up a little bit more now. And a lot of our racers are starting to throw more at it around the start line.
Yep.
So for them, I guess the tuning side of it is really starting to come into the fore.
Okay, 2 Datsuns lined up side by side. Well, 192 kilometres an hour for the rocket lane to 163 for the aeroflow lane. $164 kilometres for the rocket lane to 137. Well, 170 kilometres an hour for the Aeroflow lane to 137 kilometres an hour for the Rocket lane. We've got the two Dados back out again. Blue one had to do all the chasing then, but no problems at all. 196 kilometres an hour to 165.
Both those cars have been so consistent at that speed.
Yes, yeah, they are. We got the Blue Falcon up against the Skyline.
Look at that Skyline moving around at half track through the finish line. 238 kilometres an hour through the finish line. That's a 7 kilometre an hour improvement.
I'd love to have had a camera in that car.
Why is that?
You imagine how much driving he was doing.
Yes.
Because he was just chasing that all the way down that track.
Benji said he saw sparks. And he stopped on the corner, Mark, so maybe something a bit... Oh, no. Making his own way around the corner at the top end. Maybe a bit of exhaust coming off or something like that, Benji.
Oh, the middle of the car?
Oh, that's not good.
Hmm.
I dare say our turnaround crew saw that, and that's why they've
yes,
stopped him on the corner. All right, Focus versus BMW. The next matchup. The Beamer in the Aeroflow lane.
Okay, I dare say they've got the car moved from down there, so touch wood, hopefully everything is okay. And we've released these two cars now.
Side by side for a bit, but then the BMW just stretched away at the end. 10 kilometres an hour, the difference.
Oh, a couple of kangaroos down the bottom end. Come down for a look.
It's interesting. I can actually see them. Normally I really struggle.
Yeah, yep, just on the hill there.
Mm. Mazda's doing battle once again. MPS out in front. And takes it 150 through the finish line. It's quickest pass of the night.
And 114 for the Aeroflow lane.
Slowly but surely the MX-5 getting quicker, Mark.
I actually wonder whether it's they're doing some changes in the pits, playing around with a bit of a tune on it, or it's just the track getting better.
Or perhaps the driver just getting a little bit more confident.
You reckon?
Yep.
Yeah, could be that as well. Yep. Okay, 146 kilometres an hour for the Aeroflow lane.
Good one, Pedal Van Man. I can't repeat that though. Making a crude joke about our kangaroo friends.
We've got the B2R Honda Civic about to come back out. It's been down in the pits. Dare say they've been playing around with tyre pressures and the tune. Try and get this thing down the track. Certainly a bit of a learning curve for those guys. Obviously a different style of vehicles, shorter wheelbase. We know it can run the numbers. But trying to get that jump, Steve, just seems to be a little bit tricky for them.
Stu, do we know if they built that car from scratch, or was it bought in that way and they've just improved on the original?
I'm not really quite sure.
Well, this would be a good pass.
It's a big set of cams in that Honda, I think, Mark.
Yeah, I think you're right.
What do my Escorted sound like with no exhaust on it? Maybe we need one of those
little flaps on it.
Actuator things, yeah. Why? Just because I want to.
Yeah.
Well, a little bit of a cough there. Just on the head of the throttle. And again at the top of first gear. Skyline will run through for 174.
Got this VL that's coming out now for its first pass.
Tall set of tyres on the back of it.
Definitely got a big rake on it too, isn't it? Nosed right down.
Which is interesting because the theory with drag racing is the smaller the tyre, the better your rollout for the initial launch as such. Maybe with roll racing a little bit different. Wow, drives on around the Corolla, 193.6 kilometres through the top end of the racetrack. Okay.
Yeah. They come on really strong.
Obviously working really well. The Corolla, no slouch, and the VL drove on around.
Yeah, well, there wasn't a lot of noise coming out of the VL, and then just before 330 foot, it really starting to wind up and get itself down the track for its first sighting pass. So I think there's still plenty more to come for that car.
Lancer taking that one, 167 through the finish line. Tell you what, the Focus doing a good job at getting the 60 k's an hour across the start line, went 59 there.
Yep.
All right, we've got our 2J powered hot rod about to come back out against the Evo.
A little bit of a wiggle on the head of the throttle, but 172 through the finish line for the hot rod. 158 for the Lancer in the rocket lane.
I reckon that thing would be an absolute blast to drive, that hot rod. Oh.
Wonder what the steering's like. Is it traditional, or like when I say traditional,
yeah,
traditional like a modern car, or traditional like a bus? Because that's how they normally build them,
yes,
like
did,
a bus.
Yep.
And no good when you get them crossed up when you have like the bus steering wheel in it.
No, you sort of get tangled up.
Yes, very quickly. 139 for the rocket lane to take the win there.
Actually, just looking at that VL2, Mark, I mean, we see them a lot in drag racing. but particularly for the roll drags. I'll tell you what, it'd be good to have some of those quick street-based VLs come out and have a crack at some of these Skylines, because I reckon they give them a good run for their money just quietly.
Yeah, I think you'd be right there, Stu. I'd like to see a lot of some of the quick ones from out the drags come out. Just as is set up for the normal drag racing, just to see how they go.
We're very lucky that we've got a lot of street-registered cars that are extremely quick in the drag racing, so I hope we can get more of them in the future.
Exactly right, Stu. We saw a number of 10-second cars last night. Well, the Honda launched out pretty good that time, but went silent just after that.
Actually, both cars were off it, Steve, at about just before half track, so plenty more in them.
Honda seemed a bit cleaner than the previous passes.
Yes.
No popping, crackling from it.
So the quickest speed tonight, 238 kilometres an hour from Intron R28.
Well, it's good to see some quick
I think it is.
four-cylinder cars make their way out as well, that we've seen them here at Aeroflow Race for Real, and good to see them giving you the roll drags a crack from the little Focuses.
Yeah, they seem to be doing pretty well on the racing surface here. I would have thought maybe with being front-wheel drive, they might have struggled a little bit for traction, but they seem to be working pretty well.
Do we have a car stopped at the end of the track?
That would be the Honda, I think.
Okay, I think we have the quad up there at the moment, just hooking up to it.
Well, this should be a good race. Got that VL back out, and he's taking on one of our quick Corollas that's here tonight.
Yeah, they're up for a rematch straight away.
Yeah.
Double or nothing.
Been pretty impressed with these Corollas all night, just quietly. Obviously, they come out here to Aeroflow Race for Real for our off-street drag racing, and they always put on a good show there. But to see them here tonight in a roll drag situation, I've been really impressed with them, just quietly.
Well, I guess the beauty of the little Corolla, Stu, is they're not a heavy car. They're so light in their manufacture of the sheet metal themselves. It just lends itself to being a quick little race car, really. When you think
they don't have a bad size engine bay. Either.
No, they are actually a very good size engine bay.
Yeah.
My twin brother and father built a wagon in the same K55 as the one we're about to see here, and he put a Nissan CA18 DET in it, and it went in. I think the only thing he had to do was massage the tunnel to fit the gearbox in. That was it. I know the VL's not going to catch the Corolla this time. It's one apiece. 180 through the traps for the Corolla, just shy of his best of the night.
Yeah, 182 from the VL, and yeah, definitely was doing a big chase.
Yeah, you're right, Ben. There was a big pedal in there too. All right, the pair of Falcons, they matched up not too long ago.
They've actually been putting in some great passes, these two cars.
The last one was all but side by side.
Oh!
The early model Falcon in the Aeroflow lane moving around big time on the anchors before the finish line.
Yeah, I think she was getting really unsettled, so made the right choice, jumped out of it early.
Focus taking on the Audi, I think it is.
Yep.
Again, spot on that advised entry time, entry speed mark.
Yep.
151 through the finish line for our Focus that time around. By far away from his the best of the night though, by some 20 k's an hour, believe it or not. All right, Lancer on Lancer. Earlier model in the rocket lane. Yeah, that one an invalid run there.
Yep. The guys just cruised on from that.
All right, we're going to have Volkswagen up against Volkswagen.
Or our Golfs are multiplying, Stu.
Well, that's what we want. We want plenty of cars out here to support the roll drags and a whole mix of cars. And the good thing is there's a lot of street-based ones that are still very, very quick. And it's good to see these two up against each other.
Well, going by the stats so far, they're very evenly matched.
Yes. Yeah, 146 to the Aeroflow lane, 148.8 in the rocket lane.
Yep.
All right, Mark, I'll tell you what we might do for a few minutes. We'll just play some bills via some ads, and we'll be back with you here at Sydney Dragway for Roll Drags, the second edition. We'll be back with you shortly.
Bang shift shifters from Aeroflow Performance are truly the modern shifter for the modern age. Featuring a full bespoke billet case, all shifters are designed for right-hand drive vehicles with an LED lit gear position indicator. Available in either ratchet or gated options, as well as OEM replacement shifters for popular Holden and Ford vehicles. A large range of bang shift spares are available for each shifter that includes shifter cables, brackets, lever and gate kits, trans brake buttons and drop boxes for the ideal mounting solution. Shift into gear and check out a full listing at aeroflowperformance.com.
How would it be if we funded a pilot program for you to run that enabled you to bring some vision impaired kids onto the Saints Play program?
Oh wow, that would mean the world. My reward is the smile on the kids' faces.
And since you've given so much to others, we'd also like to do something for you personally. How would it feel if Pepper sent you, your partner, and your daughter Molly to the Gold Coast for a few days?
Yeah, awesome. I don't know what to say. It amazes me. Thank you very much.
Stay informed, up to date and entertained thanks to the Western Weekender. The Western Weekender is Penrith's leading free and local newspaper, delivering the best content from on-the-ground journalists and providing businesses with direct access to potential customers. News, sport, entertainment, puzzles and so much more. The Western Weekender is the heartbeat of Penrith and it's out every Thursday. Get your free copy at selected locations in the area, home delivered, or check out westernweekender.com.au.
I said we'd be back shortly. And here we go with the 2JT bucket taking on the Audi in the Aeroflow lane.
Bucket on the brakes early.
And still takes the W. 151 to a 150 for the Audi in the Aeroflow lane there, Mark.
Yeah.
I must admit those brake lights on the bucket, nice and bright. Definitely must be LEDs.
Yep.
All right, Evo on Evo action once again. I think this pair didn't get a valid run last time. So that's 6 in the rocket lane. Pretty evenly matched. 700s across the finish line. The earlier model Evo takes it 169 through the speed trap.
So not too far off his quickest pass so far. Quickest at 171, so. And 155 for the Aeroflow lane.
Golf on golf. Aeroflot Lane out in front and takes it only just 0.02 of a second across the finish line mark and only half a kilometre an hour.
Yeah. So those guys virtually would be looking at each other as they cross the line.
Yep, 100%. Only 200 and half a kilometre. They're looking at each other all the way down the racetrack.
Yep.
Not just at the stripe. Well, I think these two Fords have they found their pairing, I reckon.
They have indeed. I'll tell you what, I like the pairing too. It's a great race.
So, did you just say you like the Ford pairing?
I do, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, the XE takes it.
Only just.
Yeah, you're only talking 0.9 of a K across the finish line.
So, yeah, 186.76 to 187.65.
Yeah, nice. Easy as you like. Very similar, obviously, in engine tune. But slightly, I dare say the earlier Falcon, not quite so aerodynamic. Not that the later model Falcon's much better, but still. You reckon the XD would be lighter, Ben?
Yeah, I think it would be too. All the less electronics and all the stuff in them.
My old HX used to be 200 kilos heavier than my Sigma.
Yep.
Sigma was 1100 kilos, the HX was 1300.
Well, they're certainly a very good match pair, those ones.
Yeah, it is. It's a good bit of racing. It's so close. Have you watched the thing on YouTube from Benny's Customs where he's got the Cresta over in the States at the moment, or a little while ago, and he actually took it up to Pikes Peak.
All right.
In traffic.
Yes.
Yeah, he reckons that the video doesn't show the true extent of the climb.
Yes.
But coming back, he said that they got halfway back and boiled the brakes. But there's halfway back, there's a spot where you can stop there.
Yes.
And they have a shop that sells all mechanical stuff. You can use, they've got jacks, they've got tools.
Yeah, they rent it all out.
And and you can use it all. So
that's being opportunistic, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
So, what, you want a set of brake pads? Oh, here we go. Look, they're only $1,000
well,
each.
they actually said it was very cheap.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they bought a litre bottle of brake fluid for $5. Like, would have been $5 American. But
yes.
Yeah, he said, it was really good.
Yeah, so about $1,000 Aussie.
yeah. Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, and because they were over there for something, like the drag week.
Yes.
And there was a young guy stopped on the side of the road who was racing as well in it. And they sort of drove past him going up.
Yep.
And they gave him a wave and, it was all good. And they're coming back down. He was still sitting there. And they said they stopped. And he was actually part delirious.
Oh, really? Because
of the air.
Wow.
Yeah. So they said, it's when they got to the top, they said, you could feel it in your breathing. He said, but this guy had been broken down there for a while and was making some really silly choices. He's trying to put tunes into his car that would never have got the thing going.
Well, that's my younger brother actually had altitude sickness. He went to climb Everest many years ago now.
Yep.
Back in the younger days, he considered to be pretty fit, was playing a fair bit of sport and that at the time, and they were going to the very peak. They were going to the summit, and each day they would walk a little bit further up and then come back. The idea being that extra kilometre or whatever just stretched the lung capacity a little bit more. And one of his mates, they were playing cards that night, and my brother's pretty good at cards, and he was just making all these rubbish decisions.
Yeah. And
in the morning, they got up and, no, this is no good. Went and saw one of the the guides, and
Yep.
one of his mates was kind enough to sign the piece of paper for the helicopter to come in, and
Wow.
yeah, so lucky the doctor in the hospital that in Nepal there said if he was 100% when he left, he was like 90 or at 5% when he got to the hospital, but recovered within 2 or 3 days, and lucky. That's all I can say.
Well, that's what Benny was saying, that they sort of got this guy all sorted on the car. He put a tune back into it, and the guy's friend who was with him, he actually hitchhiked down to get someone to come up and help this guy.
Yes.
And, so one of the other guys drove his car down. They got him down there, and after a while, he started to become a little bit more coherent. So
apparently, as you're starving for oxygen, your breaths become a lot shorter, and that just makes it worse. You pant almost like a dog that's been gone for a big run.
Yep. Yeah, so it was very interesting. Like when you think the guys that were racing up there.
Yes.
So they're
going from the bottom to the top flat out. So there's no adjustment there unless they spend a couple of a few hours up the top, I guess. But
you know what it's like when you drive a car hard.
Yeah, your heart rate's through the roof.
Yeah, and you're puffing and panting. It is. So by the time they get to the top, they'd be pretty spaced out.
That's right. Maybe that's why they, because they're not fully thinking about the consequences of what they're doing, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just being a little bit silly there, but certainly something to consider that you don't normally have to consider in many other racetracks around the world.
No, not at all. Like you think, Bathurst, it's a really steep climb, but you're not climbing that high.
No.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay.
Just for shits and giggles, he put his 6'2" mate on his shoulders so he could be the highest person in the world.
Yeah.
All right, our Falcon has found a new friend.
Okay.
It's not taking on the XE this time.
Maybe the XE's gone for a little rest.
Perhaps. Well, he took the win there, so. Ooh, the Falcon way over towards the wall. Didn't scare him off, though. 189.5 through the finish line. His best so far tonight's a 190.
Yeah. Yeah, not one bit at all. He just kept driving.
I would have, if it was me, it would have been a different story.
Yeah, I sort of always believe in you always can come back and fight another day. You step out of it, there's always going to be that another race.
Yes, the sheep station's not that big.
Yeah, not at all. I do see the yellow Corolla rolling down.
Haven't got. And next to it is going to be the Focus. Ford Focus has done a bunch of runs here tonight.
Okay, that surprises me. The Focus best top end compared to the Corolla. Thought the Corolla was a lot quicker.
No, it's the other way around, mate. We're looking at the monitor there and then the monitor here.
Yeah, okay.
I picked up exactly what happened there when I looked. And the Corolla that time around 169 through the finish line to 153.
Yep.
So both competitors down a little bit on their PBs.
Actually, most people have been so far. Just a couple of kilometres off.
I guess as all the power plants get warmer, the gearboxes get warmer.
Yep.
What's it like outside there, Stu?
Good, right? No.
Breaking up there, mate. Sounds like you might be in a little black area there at the moment.
That's because he's in the hallway.
There he is.
Boosted turbochargers from Aeroflow Performance are designed for the automotive enthusiast who wants optimal performance at a competitive price. We have a range of turbochargers in both ceramic ball bearing and 360-degree journal bearing options to suit your power goals from 200 up to 3,000 horsepower. To help turbocharge your vehicle, Aeroflow Performance also have a large range of turbocharger accessories. From steam pipe turbo manifolds, external wastegates, and intake and exhaust solutions, you can have your car boosted in no time. For a full listing, check out aeroflowperformance.com.
Speed Addict Clothing Co. Fast clothes for fast people. Shop now at speedaddictco.com.au.
Focus on focus. Good side-by-side race so far. I think the silver one in the aeroflow lane is going to take it. And runs on through for 133 Ks now. The red one in the rocket lane. Slowest pass by the night by a long way. So maybe missing a gear or something like that.
All right, Steve, the two favourite Falcons.
Oh, they found each other again.
They have indeed.
Should go down there and start doing the call-out, Stu.
So what do we have at the moment? Not Skippy's down there, or okay. So guys, I think at the moment we're just waiting on some kangaroos that are fans of drag racing. They've come down for a look.
What are the chances? Group of cars in the staging lanes ready
Yes.
to go. We're waiting on some kangaroos.
Did he pay entry?
I doubt it.
Yeah, that's it. Evict him.
If only we could, Buck.
So it turns out the driver of that ute is actually the guy that was running last night, Steve,
Yes.
for Area 51 Custom Performance.
Yes.
But he normally drives that green ute,
Yes.
and tonight he's got this red SS out here.
Oh, so he's a Ute fan then?
And he's going to be taking on his mate. We didn't know you had this.
Mate, it's not mine. Mine broke last night. This is, what do you call a company car, borrowed by Aussie mechanic Eden Abella over there in the black Caprice. So I'm very lucky, very lucky.
Tell me, what's under the bonnet?
This 5.7 litre turbo, 6-speed manual, pretty tidy. Enjoying it tonight, mate. I don't know if he's going to let me have another go again after this, so I'm going to take advantage while I can.
Well, you guys are doing a great job, and you guys are both great supporters here at City Dragway. We thank you very much.
No, thank you, mate. We appreciate all you guys coming down every week, make this possible for all of us. So we just hope we put on a good show for everybody and enjoy the night.
Well, you certainly do. And, hey, Turbo versus Nitrous LS, what better way? It's almost like a pro mod race, Steve, except it's at street level. It's great. I'll tell you, the Ute's great. Now, we'll swap over to the boss. He's got a smile on his face. They both got smiles on their faces. Mate, you two, we can't keep you away from the place. It's great to have you both here. As I said, we thank you for your support. How's the car running tonight?
Actually, quite good. I don't use as much nitrous on this roll racing because it's not on for as long. But so I just changed a couple of bottles, had some dinner, and ready to go again. I went a bit slow on the last one, but I spun the tyre, I think so.
Certainly a lot different to what you both are used to. From a driver's point of view, when you're hitting the throttle as in the roll-in, what are you really looking for? I mean, obviously you've got nitrous on yours and he's got the turbo. Is there as much tyre slip for you? Is that something you're focusing a lot more on this style of racing?
Well, you want a little bit, but not too much. You've got to have a bit of rotation. But yeah, you can definitely go overboard and put too much nitrous in. He's got the pedal and the manual, so he can adjust it how he wants, I suppose. Me, I just got to go to full throttle and hope I got the nitrous tune right. Otherwise, it'll just smoke the tyre or we'll go slow.
Well, we just noticed throughout the night how much the track changes from the start. Now it's got a definitive lot of rubber from, halfway through the burnout area to past 60 foot. So we've noticed a lot more cars are throwing a lot more at it. How much more do you reckon more can handle?
Well, I've moved my whole nitrous window one whole second forward. So all the nitrous is activating in a second earlier. So the track is definitely coming around. It's getting there. It's going good.
Well, you guys are doing a fantastic job. If you want some work done, definitely check out the guys from Area 51 Custom Performance. Those guys are here just about every street-based event. And they do a great job too, and they love their drag racing. One guy that also loves his drag racing, who's been doing a fantastic job all night, is the driver of You're Joking. Mate, you are on fire tonight.
It's good fun, yeah, having a good time, so can't complain.
Now, you've got a barra in this from memory, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, but turbo barra.
I'll tell you what, mate, the barras are sticking it to a few of these quick Golfs and various other mates.
Yeah, I used to have a rotary and it just was so unreliable, so I just needed some value for money, so I went for the barra. It was good. I'm enjoying it at the moment.
Well, mate, you are doing a fantastic job. Hopefully we'll see more of you here at Sydney Dragway.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
There you are, boys. You're joking.
I don't think he is.
No, he's deadly serious, I think, Stu.
Well, no, he's definitely not. The other person who's not mucking around either is Watts, this beautiful-looking F6 Typhoon with the radials on the back of it. Doing a great job tonight here at the Roll Drags.
Yeah, that pair definitely very well matched in performance, all the way from the staging area where they're sitting all the way to the finish line. Only a few kilometres an hour difference between them.
And we're so used to quarter mile racing here at Sydney Dragway too. Obey, say, the Kenda 660 series where they are running over the 8th mile. But, 8th mile street-based racing, it's, I think it's something that will take off in the future here at Sydney Dragway.
It's because there's plenty of racetracks throughout the US that are only set up as 8th mile racetracks, and they seem to be pretty well participated in.
Well, I think if anything, Steve, it gives everyone a bit of a fighting chance too over the 8th. As Watson and You're Joking go off against each other. You're Joking is on a mission. 193 miles an hour. There you go.
That was a bit of a killer pass.
Yeah, sure was. It hooked up nicely that time.
And 94 out of the Red Falcon, so it was a little bit off song.
I wonder if he just gave up the ghost mark.
Well, we've probably just seen the white flash go past him.
Yep.
Well, we got the BMW about to take on the Evo.
This pair pretty closely matched as well. BMW's best 173. The Lancer 171. And a 165 for the BMW there. 167 for the Lancer. Not too much in that one either.
All right, the Area 51 boys about to go head-to-head. Nitrous versus Turbo. Tell you what, we got the Pro Mods. Now we got them at street level. Well, I think the Turbo might just have it. It is manual. Oh, he didn't get it. The Caprice got it. What a pass there from the Caprice. Actually thought the Ute would have had that. All right, Michael Koval coming out now against Crazy. Michael gets the win, 141.9. Tell you what, if Michael brought out his white Evo mark, I affectionately call him Chop because he chops his opponents in half at most racing. So it's great to have Michael here supporting the roll drags. What I'm very surprised at though, Mark, is there aren't a lot of Commodores here tonight. Thought we might have a few quick VEs and VZs. Maybe a couple of the quick street-based VFs make their way out. All right, we've got the Mazda MPS about to come out now up against the Commodore. Well, the Commodore got the launch. The Mazda was sleeping at the start.
Is he going to run him down at the top end? I think he is.
Just got him.
We got this nitrous-assisted R33 on its way out. He's going to be taking on the Ford Focus.
The Focus is going to have its work cut out for it here, but you never know. Oh, it's a big pedal there from the Skyline, Mark. I don't think he's going to get there.
I think you're right. Oh, he does, just on the line. Yeah, he did do the big pedal through there.
Oh, we've got a BMW on its way out in the rocket lane. He's taking on the Evo. Or 168 there from the Evo to 166 for the Beamer. Great run there from both those vehicles. We do apologise for this hold-up, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get back to racing as quickly as possible. All right, guys, about to get back into racing. We got the Mazda, which is swap lanes, coming out in the Aeroflow lane. You're going to be taking on a little Volkswagen by the look of it. So, another Focus.
Well, one of the cars hitting the limiter there on the shift. And 145 through the traps for the Mazda.
And 139 for the Rocket Lane.
All right, we've got Turbo Barra versus Nitrous Assisted LS. We've got You're Joking up against the Area 51 Custom Performance Statesman.
The Falcon doing what it needed to do. 189 through the finish line.
And 172 for the Nitrous Commodore. We have the other Turbo Barra up against the turbocharged LS Commodore Ute.
I dare say the manual gearbox hurting the Ute a little bit.
Oh, hey.
The Falcon had a good look at the wall right at the start line.
Done a good job pedaling it back round.
Still runs on through for 170.
And 100 kilometres an hour for the Ute. We've got the Ford up against the VW.
VW with the quicker history, I'll say, the previous pass. Ooh, not this time around. The Focus taking the win there, 154 through the finish line.
To 136 Ks for the Aeroflow.
All this talk about food on the chat. It's making me hungry. I was driving. Yeah, I'm not saying what they're planning on cooking. But I came past Doonside on the way here this afternoon, and you smell something, and it's like instant hunger.
Yep.
It was someone was having a barbecue. It's just like, oh, I'm now hungry.
Yeah. The guy next door's just put in a huge barbecue area in his backyard. And you walk out in the weekend, you just go, oh.
So did you go over?
Where's my invite?
Did you go and you reintroduce yourself or what?
I just hung over the fence and looked at him. Didn't work. Didn't give me anything.
Oh.
I think they tried to hose me, actually.
You're obviously not dribbling enough then. It's a little bit of work in that Commodore. I think I could see a whole range of coloured flashing lights on the dashboard, which would tell me an aftermarket computer, I'd say.
Well, 149 kilometres an hour for the Rocket Lane and 124 for the Commodore. Okay, you've got the XD just rolling around again in the tunnel.
Must have a good sized tank in it, Mark.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I dare say be chewing through a bit of juice at wide open throttle.
Okay, he's up against one of the little Fords.
A little bit of wheel spin there for the Falcon. And 182 through the finish line.
And 137 for the Rocket Lane. Okay, we've got the turboed Barra up against the nitrous Statesman.
Typhoon is having an all-out with the Area 51 cars, I think. Managed to match up with both of them.
Yep. They were a really quick car, those Typhoons.
They were.
Police just had an absolute ball when they got their first load of Typhoons.
Nice and straight this time for the Falcon.
A little bit of smoke out the back of the Statesman. Very unusual for it. Well, 169 to a 169. It's absolutely nothing between those two.
Wow, the Focus took that one 156.
Yeah, indeed. And 137 for the Commodore Ute.
not slow.
Not difficult.
Not just ticking boxes.
Not a bank.
Talk to Australia's real-life non-bank for home loans, car loans, personal loans. Pepper Money, the home of loan options.
Aeroflow Performance provides a wide range of high-quality performance products for races, street machines and hot rod.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that was our last pair of cars down the racetrack here this evening. We've seen some pretty good times out of some of the, or speeds out of some of those cars here tonight, and you know, hoping to build bigger and better things. The entry numbers probably weren't quite as high as we would have liked this evening, but certainly the cars that were here put on a pretty good show.
We did indeed. We had some really quality cars here.
Yep.
Yeah, that very impressive, and yeah, it was a great night all along.
It was too, Mark. So hopefully we can see all of you at Sydney Dragway again in the near future. Of course, Saturday is a test and tune, of course, coming up for the new Drag Racing Championship. So certainly looking forward to that. And then, of course, Race for Real next Wednesday night. And then round number 2 of the Drag Racing Championship here at Sydney Dragway, featuring the Nitro Funny cars, kicking off on Friday. And then also with eliminations happening on Saturday. So I know Stewie and myself are very keen for that event Friday week to kick off. So if you want to come down to Sydney Dragway, check it out. Jump on the Facebook page, check out the track's website, www.sydneydragway.com.au for event information and tickets, of course. And on behalf of all of us here in the production team, myself, Steve Bush, Mark Thomas, Stewie White and Ben Garrard, and the track management here at Sydney Dragway, I'd like to wish you all a safe trip home, and we look forward to seeing you again here at Sydney Dragway in the very near future. Good night.